Maybe you once trusted that someone would stay by your side forever. But suddenly, that promise was broken. An emptiness remained, and the question arose, is there really a love that never fails? The interesting thing is, the more we search in the wrong places, the more we get disappointed. But what if I told you that there is a love that doesn't wear out, doesn't expire with time, and never gives up on you? That's exactly what we're going to talk about. The love of Jesus, the only one capable of transforming your life from the inside out. So take this moment to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything, and write in the comments where you're watching from. I'd love to know how far this message of hope is reaching. With an everlasting love, I have loved you. Therefore, with loving kindness, I have drawn you. Book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 3. Have you noticed how many kinds of love seem to have an expiration date? One day they begin intense, full of promises, but then with time they fade away. The love of Jesus, however, is completely different. It doesn't dim, it doesn't weaken, and it never loses its strength. It is like a fountain that never stops flowing, always fresh, always available for you. Maybe you have already experienced the pain of trusting someone who promised never to leave you but walked away when you needed them most. That hurts, doesn't it? The love of Jesus, in contrast, will never abandon you. It does not depend on circumstances, nor is it tied to good or bad phases of your life. It is a firm love, like an anchor that keeps you secure in the middle of the storm. Think of a lighthouse shining strongly at night, even when the storm covers everything in darkness. That is how the love of Christ is for you, constant, unchanging, unshakable. Even when the waves of life try to knock you down, this light continues to shine, pointing the way back home. And no matter how many times you have strayed, it will never stop shining for you. The world is used to measuring everything by time, contracts that expire, products that spoil, relationships that come with conditions. But the love of Jesus breaks through this logic. It does not fit into clocks or calendars. It is a love that transcends the limits of human time. And when you understand this, your life takes on a new meaning because you realize there is something that never ends. You might be wondering, but is this love really for me? The answer is yes. Jesus does not show favoritism. He does not choose only those who appear worthy or perfect. He has already chosen you exactly as you are. It's like a table prepared with abundance, always with a seat waiting for you. All you need to do is accept the invitation and sit down to taste this eternal feast. Have you noticed that the more you try to fill your heart with temporary things, the emptier it feels? It's like drinking salty water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. Only the eternal love of Jesus can quench this deep thirst for belonging. When he fills that emptiness, life gains new colors, and everything finally begins to make sense. I know it can be difficult to trust again, especially if you've been hurt before. Those who have been disappointed tend to close themselves off. But Jesus is not like the loves that have come and gone in your life. He does not make promises he cannot keep. On the contrary, he has already demonstrated on the cross that his love is unshakable, eternal, and completely real. This is not empty talk, it is concrete proof. The most amazing part is that this love is not limited only to your time here on earth. It stretches into eternity, guaranteeing that nothing can ever separate you from him. It is like an eternal covenant signed with the very blood of Christ. And when you take hold of this truth, you realize you will never again be alone, because this love is the force that sustains your story and gives meaning to your future. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. In the letter of the Apostle Paul to the Romans, chapter 5, verse 8, you don't need to be perfect to be loved by Jesus. He doesn't wait for you to change first in order to pour out his love over your life. He already loves you exactly as you are, with all your flaws, fears, and limitations. This love doesn't depend on what you do, but on what he has already done on the cross for you. In the world, we are used to being accepted for our performance. People value achievements, appearance, or status. But Jesus breaks this human pattern. He looks at you and already loves you before you make any move. It's a love that cannot be bought, negotiated, or conditioned on anything. It is a gift freely offered. Maybe you feel unworthy of this love, like someone carrying guilt who thinks, I don't deserve this. But that is exactly where the beauty lies. The love of Jesus is not based on worthiness. He chose to love you even before you were born. There is no sin, no past, no mistake big enough to block what he has already decided in his heart, to love you unconditionally. This love is so deep that Jesus didn't just say he loved. He proved it with his life. He gave himself on the cross while we were still distant, not even understanding the magnitude of that act. This shows that he does not depend on our recognition to act. He already gave himself completely, and today he continues to extend his hands to you, wanting to transform your story. Think about the difference between someone who only loves when they get something in return and someone who loves despite everything. Human love is usually conditional. If you fail, you might be rejected. But the love of Jesus doesn't follow that logic. It remains firm, even in the face of our failures. It's like an unshakable foundation that sustains your life, even when you feel fragile. This truth brings relief, because it frees you from the pressure of having to be perfect, to be loved. You can rest knowing that you are already the target of this love. That doesn't mean he approves of everything we do, but it does mean he never stops loving us. His desire is to transform us through that love, not through cold and heavy rules. If you think about it, this is revolutionary. In a society that measures everything by merit, finding someone who loves without conditions is rare. And Jesus offers exactly that, a love that is not measured by what you do, but that remains even when you fail. This love heals guilt, restores wounds, and opens paths of hope. The most amazing thing is that this unconditional love is not just a nice idea. It can be experienced every day, in simple details. In the comfort you feel in the middle of tears, in the peace that invades your heart without explanation, in the new beginning that seemed impossible but becomes real. This is how Jesus shows that he continues to love you, always. And if his love is unconditional, that means nothing can push you away from this invitation. He doesn't demand that you fix every problem in your life before coming close. On the contrary, it is right in the middle of the mess that he calls you to be near him. This love is a safe starting point, opening the way to something even greater. In the book of the letter of the Apostle Paul to the Romans, chapter 8, verses 38 and 39, it is written, "For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord." Have you noticed how so many things in life seem unstable? Today they feel secure, but tomorrow they may vanish. People change, plans fail, promises are broken. But the love of Jesus is different. It does not depend on circumstances. It does not weaken with time, and it cannot be interrupted by anything. This love is the greatest security you could ever have. Maybe you carry the fear of being abandoned once again. Those who have been rejected know how much it hurts. But the love of Christ eliminates this fear because he guarantees that nothing can separate you from him. Neither death, nor life, nor spiritual forces. Nothing has enough power to tear you away from God's heart. This promise is as firm as a rock. Think of being in a boat during a storm. The raging sea threatens to overturn everything, but a heavy anchor holds the boat firmly to the ocean floor. That is how the love of Jesus works. He is the anchor that sustains your life, even when everything around you seems to collapse. You may feel the strong winds, but you will not be swept away by the current. This security is an antidote to anxiety. The world lives in constant uncertainty, and that produces fear. But when you rest in the love of Christ, you discover there is something unshakable holding your existence together. No matter how uncertain tomorrow may seem, the love of Jesus is already there, ensuring you will not walk alone. That completely changes the way you live. You might think, but what if I fail? Will I still be loved? The answer is yes. The love of Jesus is not conditioned by your performance. He doesn't stop loving you because you stumbled. That is the beauty of security in Christ. Even when you fall, his hands remain extended, ready to lift you up and continue walking beside you. The enemy tries to sow doubt, making you believe you are not worthy of staying in this love. But the word is clear. Nothing can separate you from it. This truth is like a shield, protecting your heart against accusations and lies. Whenever insecurity tries to take over your mind, remember that the love of Christ has already been declared eternal and invincible. And it is precisely in this secure love that you find strength to face challenges that once seemed impossible. When you understand that you will not be abandoned, you gain the courage to keep moving forward. This certainty frees you from the paralysis of fear. Instead of living trapped in the what if, and you start walking confidently in the He is with me. This love brings security not only for the present, but also for the future. Nothing that is to come can erase what Jesus has already accomplished for you. Tomorrow may be uncertain for the world, but it is secure for those who are in Christ. That means you don't have to live in despair. There is a solid promise that covers every day of your life, and if nothing can separate you from this love, it means He will always be your safe harbor in any circumstance. When everyone around you fails, when your plans collapse, you will still have somewhere to lean. This love is the shelter in the storm, the fortress that never falls. And it is in this place of security that Jesus invites you to remain, preparing the way for something even deeper. In the book of the first letter of the Apostle Paul to the Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 20, it is written, "For you were bought at a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body." The world insists on measuring a person's worth by appearance, social status, or achievements. But none of these things define who you really are. The value of your life is not summed up in numbers in a bank account, certificates hanging on the wall, or compliments received. What truly reveals how much you are worth is the price that Jesus paid for you on the cross. You were not bought with gold or silver coins, but with something infinitely more precious, the blood of Christ. This means that your value cannot be diminished by the criticism or rejection you may have faced. The sacrifice of Jesus declares once and for all that you are priceless. No price tag can ever translate that truth. Maybe you have believed that you were not enough, that you had to prove something in order to be accepted. But the truth is that you have already been accepted by Jesus. He does not look at the medals you have earned, nor at the failures you have accumulated. He looks at you and says, "I gave my life for you." That is what truly defines your worth. It is like a work of art. What determines its price is not the canvas or the paint, but the artist who created it. In the same way, you bear the mark of the Creator. It was God who made you, and He chose to pay the highest price for you. That means your life is a masterpiece. And when you understand this, you no longer need to live enslaved by other people's opinions. This value given by Jesus is not just symbolic. It is real and practical. It changes the way you see yourself. Instead of viewing yourself as insignificant, you begin to see yourself as worthy, loved, and valuable. This awareness transforms your posture, your confidence, and even the way you deal with situations in everyday life. How often does the world try to tell you that you are only worth as much as you can produce? That if you do not meet certain standards, you are worthless? But Jesus shows the opposite. You are already valuable without needing to prove anything. That doesn't mean standing still, but rather acting from the certainty that you are already loved, not in an attempt to earn love. This value also reshapes your choices. When you understand that you were bought at a great price, you begin to take better care of yourself, your body, your mind, and your soul. Not out of vanity, but as an expression of gratitude to God. It is like receiving an expensive gift. You don't treat it carelessly, but with honor and care. That is how your life should be treated. The love of Jesus keeps you from getting lost in the search for validation. Instead of chasing acceptance in places that never satisfy, you find rest in knowing that you are already accepted. This gives you the freedom to live authentically, without masks and without the weight of constant comparison. It is living from the inside out, grounded in the love that values you. And if this love has already declared that your life has eternal worth, it means you no longer have to beg for recognition. You can walk in peace, knowing that Jesus has already said, "You are mine, and I paid the price for you." This truth is the key that frees you from emptiness and prepares your heart to experience something even deeper and more comforting. In the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18, it is written, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." There are pains that seem invisible to the world, but weigh like an unbearable burden inside the heart. In those moments, you might even believe that no one understands or cares about what you're going through. But the love of Jesus reveals itself precisely there. He draws near to the brokenhearted and brings comfort where nothing else seems to reach. When the heart is wounded, human words often fail. Friends may try to help, but there are sorrows that cannot be healed with superficial advice. The love of Christ, however, works differently. He doesn't offer just clichés, but real presence and true comfort that calms the soul even in the midst of tears. It is like an invisible embrace that surrounds you in your most fragile moment. You may not see it, but you feel a peace you cannot explain. That is the comfort of Jesus. It doesn't depend on the circumstances changing, but it brings relief even while the battle is still going on. It's the kind of care only a perfect love can offer. Think of an open wound. It doesn't heal overnight. It needs time, care, and protection. The same is true with the pains of the soul. Jesus does not ignore your wounds, but he tends to each of them with patience and love. He wipes away your tears and strengthens your heart day after day until you are fully restored. Maybe you have heard someone say, "Time heals everything." But the truth is, time alone does not heal. What heals is the presence of Jesus in time. He is the one who transforms memories of pain into testimonies of victory. He is the one who gathers the broken pieces and puts them back together in a way even more beautiful than before. This comfort is not only emotional, but also spiritual. It reaches places in life that no medicine or therapy can reach. That does not mean you shouldn't seek practical help, but it does mean that no human support can replace the comfort only Christ provides. He touches the root of the pain and brings hope where there seemed to be only despair. And the most amazing part is that he does not withdraw when you are suffering. On the contrary, it is precisely at that moment that he draws even closer. While others may grow tired of your tears, Jesus remains. He sits beside you in the darkness and whispers, "You are not alone. I am here." And that changes everything. This comfort also has the power to transform your perspective. What once seemed like the end can become a new beginning. What once looked only like loss can become part of a process of growth. Jesus wastes no pain. He uses even tears to shape your story and to build in you a strength you could not have found otherwise. And when you experience this love that comforts, you discover you no longer need to fear the hard days. Because even if they come, there is the certainty that you will never face them alone. This is the love that stays near in the darkest valleys and prepares you for something even deeper, a true and transforming relationship. In the book of the Revelation of Jesus Christ, chapter 3, verse 20, it is written, "Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person, and they with me." The love of Jesus is not distant, cold, or indifferent. It is living, present, and longs for closeness with you. He is not content with being just a religious memory in your life. He wants a real relationship, like someone who sits at the table, talks, and shares daily life. This invitation is personal and direct, to open the door of your heart for him to come in. Maybe you have already experienced superficial relationships where no one truly cares. But Jesus does not seek a facade. He desires intimacy. He wants to be by your side in the simplest details, from small choices to great challenges. He is not knocking on your door to bring burden, but to bring abundant life. Picture the scene of someone knocking at your door. The person doesn't break in or force their way inside. They simply knock, waiting for you to open. That is how Jesus works. He respects your decision, yet keeps knocking because he longs to be near. His love is patient but also urgent, because he knows that without this true connection, you will never find fullness. This relationship is not about empty rituals, but about genuine fellowship. When he says, "I will eat with you," he's speaking of intimacy, of sharing life, of walking together. It is like sitting at the table with a friend who listens, advises, laughs, and even cries with you. It is in this space of closeness that your life finds meaning and strength to keep going. Many people believe that following Jesus means losing freedom. But the truth is the exact opposite. In relationship with him, you discover true freedom. You no longer live chained to fear, guilt, or the constant pursuit of approval. With him, you realize you don't have to prove anything, because you are already loved exactly as you are. You might ask, but how do I open the door of my heart? It's simple, through faith and surrender. It can begin with a sincere prayer, like talking to a friend. It might happen in silence, in your room, or out loud, in the middle of your day. What matters is not the place, but the willingness to say, "Jesus, come into my life and transform my story." This invitation is the most important decision you can ever make. It's not about changing religion. It is about living a relationship that is alive, one that transforms how you see the world and how you see yourself. It is walking side by side with the one who never abandons you and who wants to take part in every chapter of your story. And the more you open yourself to this relationship, the more you realize he fills the emptiness that nothing in the world could ever fill. He doesn't promise a life without struggles, but he guarantees his presence in all of them. That makes all the difference. With Jesus, you will never have to face anything alone again. And it is at this very point that he invites you to take the next step. The loves of this world are temporary. They may start strong, but often fade with time, collapse under difficulties, or simply get lost along the way. The love of Jesus, however, is completely different. It is eternal, unconditional, and it never abandons you. He not only declares this love, but has already proven it on the cross, showing he was willing to go to the ultimate consequences to be by your side. This love gives you unique value. While the world tries to put price tags on you based on achievements, appearance, or status, Jesus has already declared, "You are worth my life." He comforts you when your heart is broken. He holds your hand in the darkest days, and he remains steady when everything around you seems to collapse. It is in this love that you find refuge and security. But this love is not just to be heard about. It is meant to be experienced. Jesus is knocking at the door of your heart, waiting for you to open. The decision is yours. No one else can choose for you. He doesn't want to be just a distant memory in moments of pain, but he desires to walk daily with you in a real and transforming relationship. And now I ask you, will you keep chasing fragile loves that fade away? Or will you decide to live the love that never leaves you? Will you let him be just a distant thought, or will you open the space for him to truly transform your story? If this message has spoken to your heart, don't let the opportunity slip away. Make the decision today to experience this love. Start by praying, opening your heart and saying, "Lord, I want to live with you." This simple step can mark the beginning of a new chapter in your life. And there's more. Don't keep this message only for yourself. Share it right now with 2 people you love who also need to know this love that never abandons. Be the channel through which their hearts can be touched as well. And I invite you to continue this journey with me. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, and don't miss any of the upcoming content. Each video is an opportunity to deepen this relationship and learn how to live daily under the love of Jesus.